Welcome to your weekly motivation and inspirational video brought to you by Noble Bereans. I am Steve Sanders, and today we are going to talk about the image of God. Now we're going to be reading from Genesis 1, starting in verse 26, if you want to go ahead and turn there. Now the image of God, this is a topic that has been popping up for me a lot lately. So I finally decided to do a session on it here today. I hope that you find it as inspirational as I have. So the Bible tells us that we were created in the image of God. But what exactly does that mean? Well, the Lexham Survey of Theology states, the image of God is the special status that all human beings have as those made to reflect our Creator's character and commissioned to carry out His purposes in the world. Well, it's a really good definition. I do think it's worth diving a little bit more into, though. So we're going to begin reading in Genesis 1, starting in verse 26, and as always, I'm going to be reading from the Legacy Standard Bible. Then God said, "Let us make man in our image, according to our likeness, so that they will have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the birds of the sky, and over the cattle, and over the earth, and over every creeping thing that creeps on the earth." And God created man in His own image. In the image of God, He created him. Male and female, He created them. Now notice that we aren't the only thing that was created in God's image. The divine council, whom He's speaking to, is also made in the image of God, and I believe that includes angels as well. Now, I like what I heard on Michael Heiser's podcast, that another way to say this is that we are imagers of God. So we are reflecting the image of Him, or another way to say is we are image bearers of God. I've come to see this as we are reflections of God. We are not necessarily reflections in body, but reflections in our actions and our deeds. We are people who show the world what God looks like. Now let me give an example of something that might help illustrate how I believe this works. I'm an American, and if I go to another country and I do something ridiculous, people in that other country will blame all Americans for my activity because I have been a representative of America in that country. Now the same can be said for the state that I live in, the group that I advertise on a t-shirt, especially when it's a sports team, or the organization that I'm a part of. I just read a headline a few days ago that said something like this: Christians are doing such and such. And I thought to myself, I'm not doing what they're describing. In fact, I wouldn't do that at all. But because a Christian group was doing this, I become associated with it because of that commonality, the Christianity. And I think that is somewhat what we're talking about here, about being imagers for Christ. I believe this correlates with 2 Corinthians 5:20. I'm going to read again from the LSB here. "So then, we are ambassadors for Christ, as God is pleading through us. We beg you on behalf of Christ, be reconciled to God. He made Him who knew no sin to be sin on our behalf, so that we might become the righteousness of God in Him." Now, BDAG, which is a resource I use a lot, says the word ambassadors here could also be translated as envoy or delegate even. And in fact, even the word messenger works, and you may realize that the word angel in the Bible actually means messenger. So the essence is the same. We are representatives on behalf of God. We're His ambassador, His envoy to the world. So if you are a believer, you were not only created in the image of God, but you also know God, and you know about His nature. Therefore, you should be a good representative of Him in the world. When others see you, they should see God's nature in you. This isn't to say that you will be perfect in all that you do. You won't be. But as a believer, you are the envoy of the King, and your actions and your deeds are a reflection of His nature. In fact, you're more than an envoy. You're also His child, which is an even stronger association. With all this in mind, I want to challenge you this week to think about this, that you are a reflection of God, and I want you to go out there and reflect Him well this week. consciously demonstrate His nature to the world, which can only be done through the Spirit that lives within you. You have an important role out there in this world as His ambassador. Glorify Him well and go out there and make it a great day.